We'll spare you from having to watch us fell all the trees here and skip to the good part.
And we have cleared the leach field. This is so exciting to be at the second milestone. We cleared the house site and the utility building site, and now we have cleared the leach field site.
This one was tough. It's not a bit, I guess it's a fairly large area. You can see it behind us. It was about 50 trees that we had to clear, but there were some unique challenges here.
Yes. So one thing is that the stumps we had to flush cut, and we had to clear everything because the leach field is going to go on the top, and we could not have the heavy machinery like our tractor in it. So it was a lot more walking longer distances. It was a lot more pulling logs out with the tractor. And then you were struggling, well, not struggling, but you managed to cut the tree stumps.
Yeah, so because the leach field will be on top of here, it's a mound-based system that we're going to have constructed here. And as part of that, you can't compact the soil underneath, which is why you can't drive any vehicles on there. Yeah. You also can't disturb the soil underneath, which is why you can't pull the stumps out. You have to cut them flush with the ground. That is pretty hard work. Even with the new chainsaw, the 562, cutting through these stumps at ground level is tough. Trying to keep that bar and that chain out of the dirt when the base flares out so much is really hard. The flare makes the tree a lot wider. So even though the tree might only be, say, 12 inches in diameter, that flare at the bottom, it might be 2 feet across. Yeah. So yeah, it was tough going. It's taken us a little while to get there. And then each tree just felling a couple, getting them as close as we could to the edge, limbing them, chipping all the tops again, and then, like Diana said, dragging the logs out. We couldn't just drive the tractor in and pick them up with the forks like we did elsewhere.
Yeah, so I think we were getting pretty good at chaining and dragging and figuring out the physics of how the tree, when it gets like stuck on the stump or pulling kind of along the tree as opposed to trying to pull it at an angle. Especially for the heavier trees, that's definitely took some remembering how forces work from the physics class.
The other big challenge we've been dealing with is the weather. When we started felling trees a few months ago, you may remember we were working in snow and freezing conditions, and we did that kind of by design. That was kind of the point, because this is hard work, and it's now, where are we? We're in June now. And it's getting hot. We've had some days up over 80 degrees, and honestly, that's just too hot to work in. Got all our protective gear on, the chaps, we've got a couple of layers on the top, the helmet, the gloves, working with a hot chainsaw or around a tractor and things. That's just too hot. So what we've been doing when the weather's good is coming out in the morning, working a few hours in the morning, and then at lunchtime, if it's got too hot, we'll go and find other things to do in the afternoon. And there are plenty of things to do around here.
Yes. And the chainsaw that we broke accidentally is still not fixed. So it was a good decision to buy a second chainsaw so that we can actually make progress in the meantime.
Yeah, we're hoping we should have it back pretty soon. But yeah, in the meantime, I've been using the 562. It is definitely heavier than the 550 that we have as well. But honestly, I'm kind of getting used to it. And I'm secretly hoping that when we get the 550 back, it'll feel a lot lighter in comparison, and I'll be flying with it. But the 562 has been working well. It's a lower, it's a higher torque, so it's kind of more low-end grunt than the 550, which kind of revs a bit higher and has its power a little bit higher up like that. But honestly, it's been working really well. It's made quick work of the trees for felling them. It's made quick work of the limbing. And for cutting the stumps, actually, it's been really useful. It does have the slightly longer bar than the other chainsaw, which makes it a little bit easier when it comes to cutting these stumps. You've got this pile just next to us here of all the kind of the bottoms that we've been cutting off the trees. So yeah, we've got a good log pile that we've built up from the trees that we've taken out of here.
We have another chipper pile.
We've got another wood chipper pile of wood chips over there, the mulch pile. And that's actually not all of them as well. We've taken probably about half the wood chips in the bags straight out onto the trails. Yeah. And spread them on the trails up there. Yeah,
this area is closer to the trails, so we thought we might as well put it right on the trails. I think that over the winter, the wood chips have done really well, and the trails that are covered with wood chips, they have less ferns growing on. Yeah. There's still a little bit in some places, but we can probably just top it off with more wood chips.
So that is the big project, to clear all of the trees around the leach field.
And I'm super pleased with the result. And
it's come out so nicely.
I'm really glad that we are chipping and clearing up everything, because it looks really, really clean and nice. So now we're gonna pack our stuff, and we are done with felling trees on the leach field. However, we are nowhere near close to being done with clearing trees. Next up is making space for electrical poles, which means cutting down a few trees and clearing the slash from last year when we put in the driveway. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.